This new opening come from? How was I not a part of this? Wait a minute.
You liked it. You liked it then. Surprise!
Hey, we have a nice sultry voice. I love it.
Right?
I'll say all thanks to last week's guest,
I
actually.
was going to say thank you, Andrew Romano, for lending your voice and letting us use it for perpetuity, I suppose. But yeah, so everybody, welcome to the Silver Phoenix Happy Hour. I'm Blaze,
I'm
and
Ken. Yep.
yep, and I think we're a little beat up today, aren't we? We're a little.
Oh,
It's been a week.
um, listen, there is a little bit of Coke in this, but there's a lot of rum in this. So yeah, it's been one of those weeks, actually. Yeah.
Eagles, big week.
Oh,
11 and
yes.
1, 11 and 1 for our Eagles.
So you're not as bad off, actually. You can't say anything. Your
No,
guys
no,
are doing great.
the beat up is a different story, but we'll talk football first, and then I'll tell you the wacky week of why I'm actually drinking an Origin sparkling berry seltzer, no alcohol. So, but let's see. And then the Jets are 7-5.
Yes.
Yes,
Giants
seven.
are 7-4-1. We actually tied this past week.
Listen, I did watch a good portion of the game, and it was a pretty good game. I thought Saquon
Yeah,
really stepped it up and was fun to watch. I just like watching him. He's a lot of fun. Not when he plays
yeah.
for my Eagles, but And then I think you go first about your injuries or what happened to you. Why
Oh,
hurt in
well,
this way?
well, let's break the fourth wall of this show, actually, because I mean, we actually have real lives outside of this show. So we actually have real jobs and everything else. And mine was just getting battered and beaten up, moving a lot of furniture around and a lot of setups. And I've come to realize that I made a phone call to my mother to thank her for the incredible genes that I apparently have, as opposed to why my knees are terrible now. So
Mhm.
between that and the back, I'm like, I think I got to find a new profession at this point.
Well, mine was I was in Rockville Center with a friend who I hadn't seen in a little while, and we were walking from one place to the next. We wanted to go dancing at a different place, so we left and went to a different place. And I thought it was funny to, and this is a warning: do not walk, talk, and look at your phone. It was a big warning for me. I didn't even think about it, I guess. But and I was only one or two drinks in, so it wasn't an alcohol related fall, but I fell. I fell, luckily not on my face, but I fell on my hand. I fell on my knee. I'm all scraped up. I'm like, I feel like I was in an accident of some kind, to be honest with you, because I fell like flat down. But, I was telling a story, I guess, to her about a guy who I go hiking with sometimes. And he's a hiker, like he's a real hiker. And I'm not. I'm like more, I bring my phone and I like to take pictures of the little mushroom caps and whatever I see is like beauty. I'm not really. Yes, I will get to the summit eventually, but but I like to take my time. And he's like, "Let's go, let's go." So I was telling that story and showing like just a funny thread that we had going, and that's when I fell. So thanks a lot, John Lusky. Appreciate it. Um,
Well, real quick too. I mean, I talked about work doing this. Actually, we got to go back to because we've mentioned on the show before this. Back in the heyday of my life, I was a pro wrestler. I did stunt work.
yeah,
So I think that has more to do with how I'm feeling as opposed to what I did at work. I think the years are starting to catch up, but wouldn't trade it for anything. I'll be
no, of
honest.
course not. Of course not. Well, I just saw that a new trailer popped, and I know that you have a couple of them. But speaking of kind of like older but still doing his thing, Indiana Jones, the
My
new Indiana
God.
Jones is coming. Harrison Ford in the new Indiana Jones. It's called I had to write it down because it's not like doesn't roll off the tongue as easy for me. The Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
Yeah, and you would think because some of the best Indiana Jones movies, if you think about them, had to do with the biblical relics.
Right,
The Ark of the Covenant, the Cup of Christ.
right.
Um, I was curious that it was the Dial of Destiny and not the Spear of Destiny. But looking back too, continuity wise, there was a Indiana Jones and the Spear of Destiny comic book that came out some time ago. So maybe they're just saying, "Hey, we already did this."
I don't believe in magic. But a few times in my life, I've seen things I can't explain. And I've come come to believe it's not so much what you believe. It's how hard you believe it.
Who is this man?
I'm her godfather.
Related.
Get back.
Listen, kudos to Harrison Ford. The man is what, 81, 82 now, and he came back for this. Obvious digital effects in this movie so that he's not doing all of his stunt work. I hope they clean a lot of it up before the movie comes out, but it looks fun. And one last outing with Harrison Ford as Indy, I'm kind of down for it.
Yeah,
Kind of down for it.
absolutely. Well, speaking of fun, our guest today has such a fun resume and list of things that she has accomplished. So I'm going to introduce her right now. Actress, philanthropist, advocate, screenwriter, director. It's kind of like her laundry list of screen credits. So let's welcome Lisa Regina to the show. Hi, Lisa.
Hi, how you
Hi.
doing, Ken and Blaze?
Yes,
So,
nice to see you.
I'm enjoying this, listening to you about falling down. Not that I'm. We don't want anyone to get hurt, but it's good to know that you have some stunt background as well.
I mean,
Oh yeah. Hey Lisa, well, at least join the conversation. I mean, do you have anything to contribute? Have you taken a fall recently, or?
No falls, thank
Thank
goodness.
God.
wait, but I did hear, Lisa, that you did take a fall of one kind. You got married.
Yeah, there you
It isn't
go.
a fall like in a bad way. I just mean a fall forward.
Yeah,
Not a bad way.
Congratulations.
thank you, and I'm joining you. Here we go. I did fall hard for John, and we got married September 10th. I waited a long time. I put my career first and wasn't really thinking about it until I met him, and that here I am, and I'm happy, and I'm still smiling a few months later.
That's amazing. Yeah, congratulations. We had
Thank
actually heard about that from Freddie Gano, who was on our show, who's a good friend of yours who you've worked with before. What have you
Yeah.
worked with Freddie?
Well, many years ago, I cast. I started when I first started coaching actors when I was at NYU back in 1991. I always had my eye out for casting like other actors. So I would get cast in a film basically. And then talking with the director or the producer, they'd say, we still haven't filled this role or that role. And I'd be like, oh, I have the perfect actor. And in doing that, through the years, that's how I would, get my actors cast, just because I was cast, and then just helping out, that indie spirit. And so Freddie Gano, I got him and Michael Mazzio in on a project called The Tournament, which coincidentally just recently got picked up on Amazon. So look for The Tournament. It's a sweet film that we all worked on back in the day, and it's enjoyable. Like I went back and watched it with my husband. I'm like, this is a good film. This is a good story.
What's it about, Lisa?
It's about a family in Westerly, Rhode Island. It's a very big, large Italian community there, which I didn't know until we were filming there. And unfortunately, the family's going through a rough time. There's some dysfunctionality, as, hey, it's all part of dynamics of family dynamics sometimes. And the father is going through a rough time and losing money and owing the wrong people money. And this bocce tournament becomes the very thing that kind of saves the family and pulls them together. Yeah.
Interesting. Have you played bocce? I actually, that's one sport I've never played before.
Yeah, but I'm not very good. I do better drinking the wine and cheering.
That's awesome. Fantastic. Great. I actually do know of you from a friend of mine from home that's not in the business in any way. that I believe you knew a long time ago, Aldo Falasca. He's
Aldo. You have to ask Aldo. No, you know what you should do when you see Aldo? Just look at him and go, Aldo Cello.
and he's going to say, "Uh oh, you've been talking to Lisa."
Yes, that's how I would greet him all the time. It reminded me of that. Remember that commercial many years ago? Aldo Cello. That's just something I would always do.
That's great. Yeah, I mean, I'll get him to watch this show and surprise
Yeah.
him. Like, oh my,
Yeah, what a nice family, the Falascas. I really miss them.
he had actually, I think, like tried to set us up to chat a long time ago, and I don't know if maybe I was in California or who knows, but it never happened.
Yeah.
But look, Regina was the one that set this up, so it worked out perfectly.
It all comes full circle, doesn't it?
It sure does. It sure
Freddie's
does.
a great guy. I cast him recently, well, a few years back before COVID. I produced, directed a short film called The Shades, and he played the priest. And I knew he would be perfect for that role.
Yeah, I actually think we saw clips of that one, didn't we, Ken?
We did actually, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
good,
he had a
good.
son in it, right? The priest ended up having a son.
Oh no, that's Father Gaudio's confession.
Oh, oh, so
That's it.
wait a minute. He's played a priest more than once. I'm shocked.
Yes. Hey, you know, they say if you're typecast, it means you're working. So that's okay.
So how did you get your start acting? Like,
It, you know what? It's just, you know, you hear this when people say they just knew they wanted to, you know. So from a young age, I just knew. I just spent hours writing short stories as a kid. I would create small plays and get all the kids in the neighborhood to kind of get together, and I would cast them in roles. It's just something that I was doing since I was a kid, so it seemed like a natural progression into the real, you know, jump into New York City and do it for real. So I studied at New York University. I transferred from a community college in South Jersey, and I studied filmmaking, producing, screenwriting, acting, of course. And I went on to teach at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts in New York City. One of my professors at NYU, God rest her soul, Nellie McCaslin, she was the one that inspired me. She pulled me aside one day and she said, "You're a teacher." And, you know, I could tell by the way the students like gather around you and the way you talk to them, you're a teacher. Go over to the American Academy and I want you to interview with the director, Peter Jensen. And I got hired. So that kind of started my coaching career.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, when you mentioned a small school in South Jersey, I have to ask because I'm from that area originally. So which one?
Yeah. Camden County College.
Oh, okay.
And because of the beauty of Facebook, you know, and social media, I was able to look up one of my old theater teachers, Donna Marazzo, giving her a shout out because she really inspired me. You know, she really boosted my confidence because taking the leap from South Jersey to New York City, I was petrified. I was like, you know, am I really doing this? You know, and she was a great support. And recently I found her again on social media and we reconnected.
that is awesome.
Yeah.
In doing research of some of the clips and some of the things that you had done, I saw Rowan Radio was on there, that there was an interview
Oh, yeah.
of your movies. And it was funny. It's just how the 6 degrees of separation, how it works. But the guy who introed it is my like partner from one of my musicals I wrote way back that I knew that I was on the radio when I was younger. So it was so funny hearing his voice. I was like, that's Leo Kirshner. That's Leo.
Oh, Leo. Yeah. What a great guy. Yes.
Yeah. So it's just so funny how what a small, like huge
It really is.
small and you know, you say never burn any bridges. You never know.
No, it's a small industry, and yeah, word gets around, both good and bad, and yeah.
But,
I do have a question going into the coaching aspect because you've been doing it for some time now.
32 years.
Can you tell me what some of the greatest rewards have been and some of the people that you've actually worked with through coaching?
Great question.
Absolutely. That brings me, you know, currently working with Jaden Michael. What a wonderful young actor. Jaden's 19 now. He started with me when he was 6 years old. And I'm still, you know, very close with him and his mother. I spoke with his mom today, and Jaden was cast as Colin Kaepernick in the limited series Colin in Black and White with the director Ava DuVernay. And Jaden also has another project on Netflix, which is Lorne Michaels' film called Vampires versus the Bronx. And currently, he just wrapped on a series by Harlan Coben. It's based on a book trilogy, I believe, and it's the title is Shelter, and Jada Michael has the lead. So, when it comes to having great pride and just being so, thrilled to see him doing so well in his career, because he's really been disciplined for so many years, like I said, since he was 6, and to see him reach a level of success, but not just reach the level of success, but as a young man, he's so humble and sweet and kind and open-hearted. And to me, that's what I really admire, and that comes from his mom, from upbringing. So yeah, really proud of Jada Michael. If you haven't seen his work, you have to check it out.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm actually looking forward to that project, 'cause I'm a huge fan of Harlan too. So, and some of the
Yes.
stuff that they've adapted of his is fantastic. So
I haven't seen his other works that have been his writings that have been adapted to film or series, but I have to start, looking now that I have a little bit of downtime over the holidays. I can do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
very
Jaden's very cool. And like, I went to the red carpet. I brought John, and Jaden invited us, and just, like a proud mom. I don't have my own kids, so my actors are my kids, and to, watch him walk the red carpet, watch him at this premiere in New York City, and just, to make Hollywood's, actors on the rise to watch. I mean, I'm just thrilled. I think he's amazing.
Yeah.
Very
So
cool.
I want to talk about an award you just won for
Yeah.
Dismissal Time. I'm going to actually put a picture up because I have one, but it was the Carpe Diem
Yes.
festival. So tell us a little bit about that movie and this honor.
Dismissal Time, a colleague of mine, speaking about relationships and how they go way back, Andre Joseph is a wonderful director and producer, and he's been working on, do you know him? Do you know Andre
I
Joseph?
do. I do actually. Before this, I did a show. Blaze and I, Blaze knows, she guested on my old show, The Loud Idiots. Andre Joseph was a guest actually twice, and I've known him through a couple of the projects that he's done. He's actually a very great guy.
He really is. And he cast me in his first film, Priceless, with Robert Clohessy. Wonderful actor, wonderful guy, down to earth, so cool. I took the Staten Island ferry with Robert over to set when we were shooting Andre's film Priceless. And I played a waitress, and Clohessy was my boss, and he was just great to work with. And like all these years later, Andre and I still, you try to help each other out. You're producing, you're writing, you're doing everything, and you call each other and say, hey, I need this, I need that. And that's what you do. You build a strong circle of support. And he said, I have a role for you playing Sharon Vance, the teacher, who was the only teacher that helped him during his years in high school in Staten Island, a private school, unfortunately, where he experienced bullying and racism. And the project Dismissal Time is based on Andre Joseph's true story. And when I heard what these kids what the kids had done to him there, it's just really ugly, and then what the administration had, they were trying to sweep it under the carpet, of course, save name of the school. So she was the loudmouth that confronted the principal and the board of ed, and she went to bat for him, and that's just right. That's a perfect fit for me, because I'm an advocate. I have a nonprofit, A Right to Heal. I'm a survivor of domestic violence, so I started my nonprofit in 2006, and I knew that I wanted to take something really, really crappy and do something really good with it.
Yeah.
And you can turn anything around. You really can, if you want to. And that's what I did. And Andre recognized my advocacy work and thought it was a perfect cast, and working with him is always, it's it's easy. He's very communicative. He's very calm, and he still gets the work done without, getting stressed and screaming at people.
Right.
So yeah, so dismissal time is winning awards. He texted me the other morning. He sent me that image you just put up, and he
Yeah,
said, "Hey, you won Best Actress." And I was like, "What?" That was like a wonderful thing to wake up to. It was pretty cool.
absolutely.
That's my
That is
husband.
that is
Yeah.
so cool, actually.
Yeah, that's a great surprise.
Can I ask too, because you brought up doing the red carpet thing. How's the hubby with that stuff?
He's great. He,
Yeah.
he's so humble. He played pro ball. He played for the New York Giants and the Patriots many years ago. And I never even knew about his football background or career because he never bragged about it. And I started digging into the internet, and I'm like, oh my God, like I was finding press releases about him and his athleticism and his family of athletes. But his 88-year-old mother was the one that kind of got my ear one day. And she told me things and how, he was interviewed and, how he played ball. But so he's fine with it. It's not his thing. He likes to be behind the scenes. He's very supportive.
Right.
It's a good match. It really is.
Uh,
Obviously, I married him.
that is great.
That's
Yeah.
great. So I think, you had mentioned advocacy earlier. So I want to
Yeah.
definitely talk about the Veterans Film Apprenticeship.
A dear friend of mine, top headshot photographer in New York City, Barry Morgenstein.
I
I
know
shot with Barry. You know Barry too, right?
Barry. Well, you mentioned Robert Clohessy too. I was like, my last big movie I did was with Robert Clohessy. He was one of the stars. So I laughed. It was like, wow, this is crazy how we know so many of the same people. It's amazing.
We can definitely make your show like a 3-hour show.
Yeah.
I think so.
So Barry Morgenstein, I shot with him when I was working on All My Children. I used to do under fives on All My Children, under 5 lines. And I was a nurse. I had my scrubs. And the casting director, the casting associate, Robert Lambert, said, this is a great photographer. We use him for our cast. And I was like, yeah, I would love to shoot with Barry. So I did. And I've been shooting headshots with him ever since. And of course, I send all my actors to Barry. So he has a really wonderful network of veterans that he's friends with. And he's very patriotic. He's definitely an advocate for veterans. And he called me and he said, I would like to introduce you to one of Gary Sinise's ambassadors, Captain Leslie Nicole Smith, and her service dog, Isaac. And I said, sure. And he said, she really wants to take your acting class. And at the time, when things were really booming in New York, I was having a lot of workshops at Barry's studio, in-person workshops. And I spoke to Captain Smith on the phone. She had her credit card and she said, I'm ready to pay for the workshop. And I said, absolutely not. You served in Bosnia. You served for my freedom, our freedom, and you don't pay for my workshop ever, And she was very moved and appreciative, and she came into the workshop. And long story short, she blew us away when I put her on camera. And the significance of this is Captain Smith is legally blind. She lost her sight and her leg while serving in Bosnia, which is what brought her, to her service dog, Isaac. And when she came to the front of the class and I put her on camera and she did a commercial, actually, I had sent her the cup. She nailed it. And I just looked at everyone. I said, like, that's a hard act to follow. Y'all better step up to the plate here. So since that workshop, I was doing a lot of writing, screenwriting, and I wrote something called The Shooter's Nail, which is a wheelchair basketball themed project using veterans who are playing wheelchair basketball. And she just fit the role of this counselor who would guide the veterans and help them through difficulties like going through an amputation and coming home and, transitioning home. So I cast her as Dr. Myers, and we shot in Queens, New York. We were on set. She came up from Fredericksburg, Virginia, all the way up to, Queens. And we shot about 14 hours. Of course, it's always a long day.
Yeah.
I had her room ready. I had everything ready. I was like doting after her. I wanted her to be comfortable and I wanted to show her how much I appreciated her. And she looked at me and she said, "Thank you, but I'm going home tonight." And I was like, "No, you can't. You'll get home like 4 in the morning." She said, "Lisa, I'm on fire. I'm so inspired that there's no way I'm sleeping tonight." She said, "I love this. I love being on set. The camaraderie of your film team." She said, "I haven't felt that camaraderie since I served."
Mm.
And I still get choked up thinking about that night. Yeah, because she really taught me something as a civilian. And I was up all night thinking about her and what she said and how beautiful she was on set. She was perfect. And I started thinking, wow, if that one veteran felt that way, then I wonder if I can do this with other veterans. So my next few short films that I produced and wrote, directed, low budget things, I cast veterans as consultants, as actors, some of them, and as crew. And it was amazing because who better to have your back than veterans? They understood the mission, they understood safety, they understood the discipline of it, the long hours. They didn't complain. It was like they loved it. So I've been doing that ever since that experience with Captain Smith. She inspired the Veterans Film Apprenticeship. So through the years, I developed it into a program where I'm just now putting my first veteran. Remember, it's a big project that you have to push uphill for a long time.
Yeah.
And Frank Sean Johnson is an Air Force veteran. I'm putting him through the program, which basically means I'm helping him to get his drone license. I'm a licensed drone pilot, Part 107 commercial pilot. And as you know, they use drones on film sets. And the many paths in the drone industry, it's boundless. I mean, you can go into search and rescue, real estate, cinematography. I mean, it's just, endless.
Yeah.
So I thought, wow, this is a wonderful match because I can bring my veterans on set. They can feel that camaraderie. And then whoever is interested or needs a new job or or maybe they come home, they don't have a job and they're used to working that mission and that kind of camaraderie. I thought some of them also have to work alone or prefer to work alone. And the thing about a drone pilot is you can do either. You can start your own business, have your own, you can go out and do commercial real estate if you want, or inspections. And most importantly, if you're bound to a wheelchair because of your war injuries, you can work from a chair. It won't stop you from working. So everything about being a drone pilot for me, I started to think, how would a veteran feel about that? And Frank Sean Johnson, I had cast him as well in one of my shorts. He's an Air Force veteran. And I called him one day and I said, the Veterans Film Apprenticeship, I specifically would like to put a veteran through drone training, cover their testing, their licensing, all expenses, and buy them a drone so they could start their own business. Is this something that would interest you, Frank? And he was like, I would be thrilled. And he wrote me a beautiful letter just explaining how it would change his life because he's also an amputee. Mm-hmm. And he has days where his prosthetic is uncomfortable and it's painful. And he said, as I get older and as I think about what will I do, he's a wonderful actor. He really is. Beautiful spokesperson. And he said, yeah, this is something that definitely interests me. It would change. It would be a game changer for me. So he's currently going through training. I'm also training because I have to renew my license every 2 years. You have to renew.
Yep.
Wrapping my brain around studying again, So the big vision, and I'm in the process of, I have some meetings before the new year, is to make the state of New Jersey the role model state where we bring the Veterans Film Apprenticeship to a larger scale and reach more veterans because it's a bigger vision than me, way bigger than me, and it needs a team. Right. And I mean, it really inspires me and makes me feel wonderful to be able to help just one veteran or 10 veterans, but I would love it to be 10,000 or 100,000, and have it across the country,
Absolutely.
Lisa, that is incredible and incredibly commendable. Like that whole thing is just, I'm blown away, to be honest.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you.
both of our fathers were vets.
Oh,
And mine has passed. Ken is still with us.
okay.
But so we understand. And I think, like, at least for me, my mom worked for the Veterans Home in New Jersey for 45 years, however long.
Really?
And I
Oh,
remember going there as a little girl singing, because I was a singer my whole life. And I
wow.
remember, like, volunteering there and singing, and always getting something from the governor for volunteering and whatnot. But so
Nice.
veterans affairs, anything like that, really sticks
Speaks to
close to
you.
my heart, because it's
Yes.
been something since I was a little kid.
Well,
Um,
big thank you to both your fathers for their service. And, I know your father's gone. And
yeah,
did what branch of service? What,
Navy.
Navy and Ken?
And Navy too. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. As an artist, I feel a great responsibility to tell stories, but to also acknowledge that, when I have an experience like that, and I get so emotional just thinking of her beautiful face saying that to me. And to me, to walk away from that and go, okay, that was cool and that's it. It's just, I can't ignore that, because, I haven't felt that camaraderie since I served. Then okay, when you come home, how could we make you feel that again?
Right.
And yeah, and I just think there's a great divide, between civilians and veterans, and there shouldn't be, there doesn't have to be. And I just think that anyone that's willing to fight for us, all of us, then, that respect and that acknowledgement. And yeah, maybe not everyone's patriotic. I don't know, but I am, that's me. And that's my world. And it also has to do with trauma, though, because I am a survivor of trauma.
Yeah.
And, April 2nd, 2005 is an assault that changed the trajectory of my life. And I could have done, and I mean this seriously, I could have done a reality show and exploited what happened. And it probably would have made a lot of money. I'd probably have my own clothing line, and maybe I'd have, what do you call those? Skims or whatever she calls them. you know, but it went against my grain. So I did the educational advocacy, and there's not as much money in that, of course, but that's who I am. So we all have to do, what speaks to us. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, and even in the aspect of the entertainment field, doing something like this, like, it allows someone to become creative on top of it. Like, they could tap into something that they may not even have thought that they were capable of.
So
You know.
true. Yeah, so
Yeah.
true. My God, so true. And I think that for Leslie, it was very comfortable for her, because she is an ambassador for Gary Sinise. She's a beautiful, eloquent speaker. I've had her at my screenings and events and fundraisers. When she's up there, everyone's just, you could hear a pin drop. And I think for other veterans that might not have that comfortability being in front of a large audience, they definitely feel at home on a film set, because you have a mission. Sometimes the conditions are, you're freezing, it's 98 degrees, you're roasting. There's not much food because the budget is slim,
We've
and
all been there.
exactly. And they just, they get her done, man. What do you need, Lisa? What do you need? I just felt so safe, and I felt so like they had my back all day long, when we were filming, and every single time I shot with veterans. It's just, it's wonderful, and I can't wait for it to grow. I can't really speak of meetings that I have, because it's not a solid deal yet. So I'm just like, staying on course, staying disciplined, staying focused. I pray about it. I meditate on it. I envision it. I keep seeing it. I hope you got the video from actor Joe Mantegna, who we know is a wonderful advocate and veterans support. Him, along with Gary Sinise, does that special, and he's just a beautiful person. And he did a wonderful testimonial when I explained to him about the Veterans Film Apprenticeship. He loved it. And I think that speaks volumes. That makes me feel like, okay, we're getting this done, and we are going to grow it.
Yeah, definitely. All right, well, let's see it. Let's roll that clip.
Yeah.
The civilian-military divide is real. It's hard to relate to military service unless you've walked in a veteran's boots. It's especially difficult for veterans to transition back into civilian life. There's a unique program called the Veterans Film Apprenticeship, which will provide veterans with the training and licensing they need to become a Part 107 commercial drone pilot. Once licensed, the program will assist veterans with job opportunities in the film and aviation industry. The Veterans Film Apprenticeship was born from an encounter between Army veteran Captain Leslie Nicole Smith and her service dog Isaac, and civilian filmmaker and drone pilot Lisa Regina. After a day on Regina's film set, Captain Smith expressed she experienced the camaraderie she so dearly missed from her service. It was the beginning of a special friendship and the VFA. As each veteran completes the apprenticeship, they will be offered a job as a drone camera pilot on a narrative series, Heroic Episodes. The series will feature veteran stories of bravery and military service. Together, a veteran and a civilian are on a mission.
For Joe to do that, I just smile every time I watch it, because when you follow your heart and then like-minded individuals recognize it and they also feel the same way, it's amazing what can happen. And yeah, I'm just really thrilled. And Ronnie Marmo is a dear friend, wonderful actor. He's doing a one-man show, the Lenny Bruce story. I'm not a comedian, I'm Lenny Bruce. And he's done, Joe has produced and directed Ronnie, and they're just really good people and they're friends. And these are years, relationships that you build. And it's just, I just wanted to recognize that, in between directing Criminal Minds and acting, he sat down in his office and did that testimonial. So that's amazing.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I noticed in his office, I'm a big Sinatra fan, and I saw in the back he had a big Sinatra book. I said, oh, me and Joe could definitely be friends.
Yeah.
But anyway, so one of the questions that we ask everyone that's on the show that's a guest is, if you have one piece of advice to offer to someone, and obviously you have so much because you have the teaching side as well as the advocacy, the acting, so if there's something general, if you just want to pick one, but what's a piece of advice that you could give to somebody that's just starting out in this business?
It's a hard industry, and you'll hear that over and over again about rejection. But I think you have to follow your heart, and you have to follow that path. Anything worth fighting for, anything that's of value, it'll be hardships. It'll be pushing it uphill for a long time. But if that's what you want to do, you do it. And I think that for me personally, I have great faith. I do a lot of meditation, yoga, I work out, and I just envision the film screening. I envision the editing, I envision the whole project, and I hold on to that vision for years sometimes. And then I sit down, I write it, I produce it, I direct it, I shoot it. And that vision is something that, I think it just manifests where you should be. And I think that, if I have too many people that call me, women, men that have raised families, worked in a job that they've hated for 30 years, 20 years, 15 years. And they go, I always wanted to be an actor. I did some theater in school. I did this in college. I did indie stuff. I stopped doing it. And here they are in their 30s, 40s, 60s, 70s, and they come back around and they want to take acting classes. So that just speaks for itself, that it will always be part of you. So why not nurture it now and just follow that path, And I was saying, I know that I'm meant to work with veterans because my relationship with Captain Leslie Nicole Smith has really grown into a wonderful friendship. I love her dearly. I love Isaac. And just what I've learned about Gary Sinise through her. I mean, there are good people in the world that are doing good things. And I want to be part of that. I want to do positive things. I want to help others. I believe that's why we're here. And what better medium to use than film, which reaches the masses?
I want to thank you. It's been a pleasure and honor. And one last thing, anything upcoming that you might have that you want to share with us besides everything that you've already given us tonight?
I know it's a lot. It's funny. I think people that work 9 to 5 don't understand like the creative mind, I guess, like, because we have at least 3 to 5, 6 projects going on at the same time. And for someone that's used to the
Yeah.
regimen of a 9 to 5, that makes them a little crazy, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have heroic episodes, which I continue to write episodes for, meeting with producers that are a good match to, you know, go into production. I also have a very dark project called The Shades. It's about taking the legal system into your own hands and like Lex Talionis, an eye for an eye. It's a very thriller type project. Um, and my coaching, I do that. You know, I've been doing that for 30 some years. But that's pretty much everything right there, and just staying on course.
Perfect. Lisa, thank you again for joining us. It's been an honor, a pleasure, amazing. Keep up the
Thank
great
you.
work.
Thank you so much.
Oh, wow.
She was incredible. It was that was an experience actually tonight. Like just the fact of what she's taken on and what she's accomplished and what she's doing, like for the world in general. I mean, come on, like veterans and man,
Yeah, it was. There were quite a few times, especially when she was talking about how it connects to other people and kind of doing something outside yourself. And I think to myself, like acting in general, movies, entertainment, a lot of things, that songs, and it's supposed to get you here, and definitely a lot of the stuff that she talked about and the things that she is doing and accomplishing definitely hits there. Like it, I felt it a lot, and I'm really proud of what she's doing. If we put up that one website, I'll just repeat it again for everyone. It's the heroicepisodes.org if you want to check out that website. And then Lisa, if you want to follow her on Instagram, it's Lisa Regina is her last name. So you can find her on Instagram and Facebook. If you can contribute, great. I think she also has a GoFundMe page as well. That's for this. It's probably on her website or being promoted on all these different things. So these different platforms. But yeah, it was awesome. I felt like I froze there for a little bit. So I apologize if I'm like,
listen,
what my
it's technology.
froze.
It's technology. It happens, you
Yeah,
know.
I was like, man, man, oh man. I guess it's because it's so cold outside. My internet here decided to freeze. But needless to say, so talking about not freezing or freezing, let's go beach coming with Blaze.
Can't wait to hear what you have for this week.
Yes, yes. All right, let's roll that clip.
I really can't stay, baby, it's cold outside. While a lot of marine species can thrive when the winter hits, on this week's episode of Beachcombing with Blaze, I talk about one in particular that's more prone to find themselves in some cold water trouble, and that's the sea turtle. Since they are cold-blooded reptiles that maintain their body temperature based on their surroundings, if temperatures drop and they haven't had time to move to warmer waters, they develop a form of hypothermia called cold stunning. How can you tell if a sea turtle may be cold stunned or in distress? Well, first signs is if you see them on the beach. Unlike seals, who are known to come out of the water to rest, sea turtles only come to shore to lay their eggs. Another sign is if you see them floating and not moving their flippers much, or if they're swimming sideways. When a turtle is exhibiting any of those behaviors or are entangled in nets or fishing lines, call your local marine rescue hotline and report it. Speaking of, my friends at the New York Marine Rescue Center and the Atlantic Marine Conservation Society educated the masses thanks to CBS News New York.
Train you to look for these turtles. It's during a high tide within the rack line to the water column, and most of these turtles look deceased, but they're actually still alive.
Being able to study this and understand what these changes mean is really a big part of what we're trying to do.
The hotline number is 631-369-9829. Who knew taking a walk on the beach in the winter could help save a sea turtle's life? Well, until next time, explore, learn, love the adventure.
Yeah, those cold stun turtles. Listen, it's so important too because you know we have a duty as well to walk the beaches even when it's cold. Put on that coat and the boots, whatever. And you can really save a turtle's life very easily by, just locating and calling the number that I mentioned.
You know what? You and I are just gonna have to walk the beach in the cold one day too, I think.
Well, I think we have something coming up within the next week or two, I believe, which is a perfect segue now for In the Kitchen with Nicole. So let's roll that clip.
Okay.
What's up, Ken and Blaze? We're in full swing in the holiday season, and what better time to talk about frozen foods? Now, yes, as a dietitian, I could sit here and preach the benefits of frozen vegetables and frozen fruits because, yes, they are picked at peak ripeness and then flash frozen to maintain that nutrient density. And that's a great benefit of shopping the frozen section, sure. But I want to have a little fun today and talk about the top 5 frozen foods I always keep in my fridge. Number 1, tater tots. Actually, tater tots is a branded name. Let's call them potato puffs. Anyhow, you can bake those up, and then if you want to get kind of like a potato latke vibe, I'm not Jewish, but I love a latke, throw those bad boys in a waffle iron, get them all nice and golden and crispy, and then serve them with a side of sour cream and applesauce. Yum. Number 2, frozen pie crusts. I'm a big fan of throwing some stuff together and making a quiche or a meat pie, whatever the case may be. And when we're busy during this holiday season, that's a great, quick, go-to meal, maybe after a day of Christmas shopping or going to see a tree lighting, whatever you're up to. Number 3, I keep frozen bone broth on hand most of the time. My go-to brand is Lily's Ladle, made in Rhode Island. It is delicious. Yum. Chef Bombay, if you don't know this brand yet and you like Indian food, amazing frozen meals, because guess what? Sometimes we need that convenience of just throwing a few things together, and I love it for that. Finally, always, all time of year, single serve ice cream bars. Couple of my favorites, Klondike bars. I like ice cream sandwich, frozen Twix. And if you're the kind of person who just needs a little bit of something sweet every evening, portion control is the name of the game. Ken and Blaze, back to you in the studio.
Nicole does it again.
Yep, as usual. As usual, it feels very normal for us to love every segment that Nicole does with us. So, I mean, it was an amazing episode. I'm so proud and happy that we were able to have someone as special as Lisa on the show. And thank you, Freddie Gano, for the introduction, and Aldo Falasca, I guess, for mentioning it years ago. That didn't happen then, but listen, I remembered it now. So
that sounds like a whole other rabbit hole and a whole other conversation coming up in the future.
Yeah, exactly. But we have a lot coming up in the next couple weeks, and hope everybody.
Hey, listen, you know what? We're in December. I'm actually getting in the spirit. I've got a semi ugly sweater. Even though it's a t-shirt, it's still kind of a sweater.
And I went with short sleeves because it probably was the only thing I could move my body and put in, considering my whole body is sore after that ridiculous fall. But anyway, I'm fine. I'm speaking still. Everything's good.
Thank God.
So I know. Well, listen, love you much, and thank you guys all for watching. And we'll see you next week.
Cheers.
Bye, everybody.
You've just enjoyed the Silver Phoenix Happy Hour with Blaze and Ken.